10 Mind-Blowing Ways 1960s Music Revolutionized the World Forever. Step into a time machine and travel back to the electrifying 1960s, a decade of rebellion, cultural upheaval, and revolutionary music that shook the foundation of society. Imagine a world where every song wasn't just a melody but a movement, every beat wasn't just a rhythm but a revolution. The 1960s music scene didn't just entertain, it inspired, united, and transformed the way we see and hear the world. Number 10. The democratization of music. In the 1960s, music creation became more accessible than ever before. With affordable recording equipment and the rise of garage bands, the barriers to entry in the music world began to crumble. Groups like the Kingsmen, Louie Louie, and countless others recorded iconic tracks in makeshift studios, proving that raw passion could outshine polished perfection. This grassroots approach challenged the mainstream and laid the foundation for the independent music scene we know today. Have you ever thought about creating music yourself? What would your sound be? Number 9. The development of music videos. Before MTV was even a dream, 1960s artists were already experimenting with visual storytelling. The Beatles' A Hard Day's Night wasn't just a film, it was a blueprint for the modern music video, blending narrative, performance, and style. Meanwhile, television shows like The Ed Sullivan Show gave artists a platform to captivate audiences visually and musically. These innovations transformed how music was experienced and paved the way for the powerful marriage of sound and visuals in today's music industry. What's your favorite music video of all time? Could you imagine music without visuals today? Number 8. A legacy that lives on. The music of the 1960s didn't just end when the decade was over, it became the foundation for everything that followed. The rebellious spirit of punk, the introspection of indie, and even the experimentation of electronic music all trace their roots to this transformative era. Songs like Imagine by John Lennon and Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan continue to inspire new generations. It's proof that great music doesn't age, it evolves and endures. Can you think of a modern artist who carries the spirit of the 1960s? Number 7. Studio wizardry. The 1960s were a playground for audio innovation. Producers like George Martin, often called the Fifth Beatle, and engineers like Phil Spector revolutionized the recording process. Techniques like multi-tracking and overdubbing created lush soundscapes, giving us masterpieces like Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys. The Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was a game-changer, blending orchestras, effects, and unconventional instruments to craft something truly timeless. Do you prefer music that's raw and live, or do you enjoy the polished sound of studio-produced tracks? Number 6. Motown magic. Motown wasn't just a record label, it was a movement. With Berry Gordy at the helm, Motown Records brought the world artists like Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, and Marvin Gaye, blending soul, R&B, and pop into a sound that was irresistibly smooth. Hits like My Girl by The Temptations and I Heard It Through the Grapevine by Marvin Gaye didn't just dominate the charts, they broke down racial barriers, proving that music could unite audiences across divides. What's your favorite Motown song or artist? Why does it resonate with you? Number 5. The birth of iconic festivals. Who hasn't heard of Woodstock? But it wasn't the only game in town. Monterey Pop Festival in 1967 introduced the world to Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and The Who, creating unforgettable moments that defined an era. These festivals weren't just about the music, they were about the ideals of peace, love, and unity. Tens of thousands of people gathered to celebrate art, freedom, and the hope for a better future. If you could time travel to one festival in the 1960s, which one would it be? Number 4. The Psychedelic Revolution. Close your eyes and imagine swirling colors, hypnotic rhythms, and lyrics that felt like riddles for the soul. That was psychedelic rock. The 1960s saw bands like Jefferson Airplane, White Rabbit, and Pink Floyd, Interstellar Overdrive, dive deep into experimental sounds inspired by the era's fascination with altered states of consciousness. This wasn't just music, it was an experience, taking listeners on a journey beyond the ordinary. Have you ever listened to a song that made you feel like you were in another world? Number 3. Counterculture and rebellion. The Vietnam War, civil rights struggles, and women's liberation defined the 1960s. Music became the megaphone for the people, amplifying their calls for justice and change. Bob Dylan's The Times They Are A-Changin' and Jimi Hendrix's All Along the Watchtower weren't just songs. They were battle cries for a generation fighting to reshape the world. Do you think today's music still has the power to bring about social change? Number 2. Diversity in sound. The 1960s was like a kaleidoscope of music. Folk rock with Bob Dylan, surf rock with the Beach Boys, soul with Aretha Franklin, and hard rock with Led Zeppelin. Each genre spoke to different audiences but carried a unifying message of creativity and expression. It wasn't just music, it was a celebration of individuality and innovation. Which genre from the 1960s do you think had the most lasting impact? Number 1. The British Invasion. Imagine the frenzy when the Beatles landed in America in 1964. They weren't just a band, they were a cultural tidal wave, followed by bands like the Rolling Stones, The Who, and the Kinks. Suddenly, the music scene wasn't just local, it was global. These bands redefined what it meant to be a rock star, influencing everything from fashion to politics. How do you think the world would be different if the Beatles had never existed? So, what do you think? Which story surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more incredible insights into the music and moments that shaped history.